Y'all see that? Want y'all to peep game. Y'all see that? We serious out here about this shit. What up, YouTube? It's your boy Moose, back for another video. But first, just want to shout out my kings and queens and my Red Pill Army out there and everybody in between. Okay? So, uh, this video is going to be a short but very, very impactful video. Okay? I want to talk about Black Lives Matter and how it's been indoctrinated through Freemasonry, okay, to be pushed upon us. All right? You see what's happening now. You see that all these organizations, whether it's through sports, media, corporations, whatever the case may be, they're all pushing this Black Lives Matter support. Okay. Now, in theory, that'd be great if Black Lives Matter wasn't a Marxist communist organization which is trying to get rid of the black patriarchy. Okay? Now, I just said a lot there, but this is all very true. Okay? So I'm going to read some quotes from the vision statement of Black Lives Matter. Okay? So let's get into it. All right? But, like I said, we want to talk about Freemasonry and Black Lives Matter. But first, I need to build this way up. I need to build this up for y'all, so that way you understand the context of all this shit. Okay? Now, I mentioned in my last video that we've been led to believe that Black Lives Matter is a grassroots political active group, but they capping. They capping. Okay? They fucking capping, and I got receipts. All right? Who is the biggest fundraiser for Black Lives Matter? It's not a black man, because, I mean, it's not like we got the money to fund that shit. Unless you Michael Jordan or some shit. But it's George Soros, okay? Do y'all research on who George Soros is, okay? He is the biggest fundraiser for Black Lives Matter, okay? Another thing about Black Lives Matter is that when the people donate to the charity, all the money gets funneled to Act Blue, which is a Democratic organization which has been funding Joe Biden for his campaign. So all the money that gets donated to Black Lives Matter, it gets donated to Joe Biden's campaign. All right? So we need to understand that these people out here capping. They're not putting the money towards building inner cities, towards actually fighting the injustice of what's happening to a lot of black men, how they're getting killed or gunned down in the street, unarmed. Okay? So that's the first thing. So I'm going to just read some quotes here that I wrote down. So let me just get into it, man. Let me just get into it. All right. So you know your boy, George Soros. Oh, looking like he got all the Botox in the world that can't save his ugly looking ass. All right? With all the money he's got in the world, he's still ugly as a motherfucker. All right? So, fuck him. All right? I had a quote pulled up from George Soros, but I can't find it now. But I'm going to just get into this next part. All right? So, I've been reading some excerpts from a book called Pawns in the Game. Now, you guys should go and do your research about this book. But it was written by a former Canadian naval officer, okay, named William Guy Carr. And this book was printed back in 1954. So even that, we can see how long this agenda has been in place for and how long they've been pushing for it. All right. So I'm going to read a direct excerpt from that book real quick here. Now, William Guy Carr, again, who served as a Canadian naval officer, said the Old Testament is simply the history of how Satan became prince of the world and caused our first parents to defect from God. It relates how the synagogue of Satan was established on this earth. It tells how his work Satan to become to prevent God's plan for the rule of the universe being established on this earth. Okay? Christ came to earth when the conspiracy reached the stage that, to use his own words, Satan controlled all those in high places. Christ exposed the synagogue of Satan, Revelation 2-9, apostrophe 3-9, he denounced those who belong to it as the sons of the devil, Lucifer, whom he castigated as the father of lies and the prince of deceit. Christ gave us the solution to our problem when he told us that we must go forth and teach the truth regarding the conspiracy to people of all nations. He promised that if we did this, the knowledge of truth would set us free. Matthew 28:19. The Luciferian conspiracy developed until it's reached its semi-final stage, simply because we have failed to put the mandated Christ gave us into effect. Now, these are all direct quotes from this book. All right, so I'm going to continue further. All right, so this next part kind of goes into the origins of Freemasonry and Luciferianism. It goes deeper than that. Really, it traces back to the Knights Templar, okay? But I don't have any research lined up for that. I'm going to touch that in a later video. But right now, we're just talking about the Freemasonries and the Illuminati, all right? Now, in 1784, an act of God placed the Bavarian government in possession of evidence which proved the existence of the continuing Luciferian conspiracy. Adam Weishaupt, definitely mispronounced that, a Jesuit-trained professor of canon law, defected from Christianity and embraced the Luciferian ideology while teaching in Goldstadt University. In 1770, the moneylenders who had recently organized the House of Rothschild retained him to revise and modernize the age-old protocols designed to give the Synagogue of Satan ultimate world domination, so that way they can impose the Luciferian ideology upon what remains of the human race. After the initial social cataclysm, by use of satanic despotism, Westfoot completed his task May 1st, 1976. The plan required destruction of all existing governments and religions. The objective was to be reached by dividing the masses into opposing camps in ever-increasing numbers on political, racial, social, economic, and other issues. The opposing sides were then to be armed, and an incident, quote unquote, so a incident that was provided, which would cause them to fight and weaken themselves as they destroyed national governments and religious institutions. Okay? You see the intensity of this shit. You see where I'm going with it. Okay? In 1776, Weishaupt organized the Illuminati to put the plot into execution. The word Illuminati is derived from Lucifer and means holders of the light. Using the lie that his objective was to bring about a one-world government to enable men with proven mental ability to govern the world, he recruited about 2,000 followers. This included the most intelligent men in the field of arts and letters, education, the sciences, finance, and industry. You see what they did, okay? And if you look at anything about Freemasons, there's like a Freemasonic lodge in every fucking city. More than one. I got one like 2 blocks away from me right here, okay? Every time I drive by, I'm like, we keep it moving, straight up, all right? So fuck them. But they recruit a lot of these people who are instrumental in society in terms of building the infrastructure of society. Like I just mentioned, people who are in education, sciences, finance, and industry. And now, take it to 2020, a lot of them are police officers. And that's where I'm going with this, okay? A lot of Freemasons are police officers, and they openly admit it, okay? I got a couple clips lined up at the end of this video y'all need to watch, where we have an ex-police officer talking about how he was an ex-Freemason and that the majority of the Freemasons that he was involved with are police officers. Okay? So we need to understand like how this has like a trickle effect into our society. All right, so keeping it moving. Um, Where was I at? Where was I at? All right. He then established the lodges of the Grand Orient to be their secret headquarters, because Britain and France were the two greatest powers at the end of the 18th century. Weishaupt ordered the Illuminati to foment the colonial wars to weaken the British Empire and organize the Great Revolution to weaken the French Empire. The latter he scheduled should start in 1789. You see what's happening? You see what they do? They go and they instigate all these kind of revolutions, or they incite these revolutions or different these different incidents, important incidents throughout history. There are huge influences on that. Okay, so again, bringing it full circle. Black Lives Matter. You see what's happening now. You see all the turmoil going on in the country. Our country's literally falling apart right now. Okay? And mainstream media ain't gonna talk about this shit. They ain't gonna talk about the two people who got killed over in Kenosha, Wisconsin, whatever you pronounce that shit as. Who that two people got killed from that 17-year-old. Okay? And they're all being brainwashed by all this freaking Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Blue Lives Matter, okay? It's all just coming out of head. We need to understand we cannot be brainwashed by these people. We have to be smarter than that. All right. Keeping it moving. All right, so now I want to talk about General Albert Pike, because he was a big figure in establishing the Illuminati in the Western world, in America. All right. In 1840, General Albert Pike was brought under the influence of General Mazzini, because he had become a disgruntled officer when U.S. President Jefferson Davis disbanded his auxiliary Indian groups on the grounds that they had committed atrocities under the cloak of legitimate warfare. Some devilish shit. Yeah. Alright. Pike accepted the idea of a one world government and ultimately became head of the Luciferian priesthood. Between 1859 and 1871, he worked out the details of a military blueprint for 3 world wars and 3 major revolutions, which he considered he would further the conspiracy to its final stage during the 20th century. Okay? Now, just want to touch on this a little bit more, and then I'm going to go into Black Lives Matter. Okay? So, the plan for 3 world wars. 3 world wars. Excuse me. Alright, y'all. So, I'm just moving on from that Freemason stuff. I'm going to come back to it in other videos, but like I said, this is going to be a short and impactful video. I just wanted y'all to see the origins of Freemasonry, okay? And just kind of have a little context of kind of what they do and how they interact in the world and society as a whole. All right. So now, being that I'm bringing this full circle, I saw how the Illuminati connects into starting all these revolutions and inciting riots, right? So, like I said, Black Lives Matter. This is just another freaking leg of Freemasonry, okay? Through Marxist communism principles and ideologies. All right? So, what I have here, I have an article pulled up from the Washington Times. This was written on Thursday, July 28th, 2016. The author of the article, his name is Roland C. Warren. So I'm going to be reading some direct quotes about Black Lives Matter from this gentleman. All right. He says, I was as shocked, especially as a black man. You see, Black Lives Matter boasts that it was launched as a response to the deaths of black males, most notably Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown. Remember these two. They died under Obama's watch, okay? And we're still dealing with the same shit today under Trump. So you think voting for somebody else is really gonna change this shit? Okay? Use your third eye. You have to be able to see this shit. Alright? Now, you would expect that when you do a review of its website, it to be chock full of references to helping black men and boys. But you would be wrong. Dead wrong. Let me explain. Prominent on Black Lives Matter website is a list of its 12 guiding principles. These principles serve as a vision statement for what the group hopes to accomplish. So if Black Lives Matter had the ability to wave a proverbial magic wand to create its reality in the black community, these principles would be it. However, if you objectively read these principles, read them objectively without any kind of agenda or bias, you will quickly notice that most of them have nothing to do with the issues facing the black community, and certainly not the black men and boys that the group has used as martyrs to gain a national voice. Moreover, as you read the principles, you will not find a single reference to black men and boys, except for trans brothers, which are men who want to be considered women. That's not me. That's not any guy I know. But hey, I'm sure they out there. Also, it's clear that the Black Lives Matter ideology sees no role for black men, especially not as husbands and fathers. What is this trying to tell me? For example, consider the guiding principle, black villages. This is direct quotes from their website. We are committing to disrupting a Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirements by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another, and especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. What? Nothing about the father figure at all. And we know that to be the most successful person you can in this world, you really need to have the mother and father structure. It's so important to have that nuclear family structure. Look, I was raised by a single mother, okay? And I think I've done a decent job to get to the point where I am in life, okay? But who knows where I could have been if I had my father in the household as well. Now, I don't put that on my mother. I don't put that on anything, because my situation is different. My mom came here to this country in America from Africa. She had an opportunity to have a better life, and she jumped on it. My father, he stayed in Africa, okay, because he didn't want to leave what he had there. It's understandable for both sides. I'm not mad at either of my parents for this. But there are certain people in this country where they don't have their father around, and that completely derails them in life, okay? We have to be honest about this fact. There are strong single family or single women out there who raise their children fine and proper and correct, and these kids end up turning to be perfect citizens, and that's great. Well, what about the majority of them? The majority don't end up going to Ivy League schools or becoming, upstanding figures in society. Let's just put it that way. I'm just being honest. That's just the fucking truth about the matter. Okay? So keeping it going. The principle starts with the goal of disrupting the Western prescribed family structure. The irony is that this has already happened to a great degree in the black community. Today, only 34% of black children, down from 67% in 1960, are raised in homes with married fathers and mothers. So you see how that's went down dramatically since 1960? Moreover, nearly 50% of black children live in single mother homes. In 1960, only 20% of black children did. From Black Lives Matter's perspective, we are making great progress. Using this logic, we should actively work to increase the number of black kids living in single mother homes, absent their fathers, right? But how is that working out for the black community? Not so great, he says. I would have to agree with that sentiment. Father absence is linked to nearly all the most intractable social ills affecting children, such as low academic performance, behavior problems, and risk for incarceration. Moreover, the negative outcomes correlated to father absence disproportionately affects the black boys and men who carry Black Lives Matter, or who Black Lives Matter say it wants to protect. In fact, in 2013, FBI Uniform Crimes report shows that black offenders killed 90% of black victims. The vast majority of victims and offenders are black men. Indeed, it's the fatherless killing the fatherless. Alright, I'm just gonna read a little bit more of this because you guys are starting to understand this fucking picture. Hopefully, you're starting to understand it. But these facts and deaths don't trouble the Black Lives Matter folks who desire to create a utopian village where there are only mothers and parents. Mothers and parents. Okay. Indeed, the reality that children don't come into the world with mothers and parents matters little to this movement. Children come into the world with their mothers and fathers, but Black Lives Matter wants us to ignore this reality. You see? And I have to say this, man. To see so many of people that look like me with my complexion just out there, just violently rioting and just engaging in all types of crazy violent activity, it's sad for me to see. But I will say, it's not just people that look like me. I've seen images, and I've actually been down to a couple marches in my local area. The majority of the people don't look like me. They're a little light skinned. They're more of the fair skin. Okay? So I'm just saying that basically, what am I trying to say about this? Well, I think that Antifa, like I mentioned, those are the agents of chaos. These are the people who are coming to these peaceful protests, we'll say peaceful protests, and coming and making them violent and inciting the violence. Okay? And other people see this and they get incensed and brainwashed and manipulated. There was a video going around after George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis. There was a gentleman going around paying people to go and basically destroy businesses, to go and break windows and break doors and just go be destructive on the property. Like, what? A white man paying black people to go do this shit, or other people. You see what I'm saying? It's funded by George Soros. We need to wake up to this shit, y'all. Okay? I'm sorry, but the truth fucking hurts. And another thing too is I just want to add this on, because why is it that there's these Save Our Children marches that are going on around the world, not just in America, but around the world, and the mainstream media don't even want to touch that shit. They don't even discuss it at all. But you see plenty of feed from the marches for Black Lives Matter, but you don't see them talk about saving our children, which is just as equally an important social issue and social justice issue we need to talk about. Okay? You had probably over thousands of people storm the lobby of CNN talking about we need to save our children. And they literally did not cover any of this. You have to go to alternative media sources to find that out. CNN, the biggest news organization in the world, corporate news organization, and they ain't even talking about the protests that are happening at their own facilities. Okay? If that doesn't tell you that there's a bigger agenda and that shit is being hidden, I don't know what else will. And if you don't believe that, you probably a pedophile too.
What's up, family? Welcome back to the channel, man. It's your boy, Mr. Twat. Today. Hey, yo, skirt, man. Check this out, man. What do we got here? Ex-Master Mason exposes the Freemasons. What in the world's going on, man? Hey, we about to check this out, brother, man. Yo, this your first time on the channel. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe and join the With Twat family. We are literally the littest family on YouTube, and that's a fact. Also, before we get started, put a like on this video. Remember, if you got a video you want me to react to, get down in the comment section. Let me know, and I will get to it, man. Let's go ahead and get into this reaction.
All right, brother. You said that you had also Masonic, right? Masonic,
Yeah, well, my career in law enforcement, I actually joined the Brotherhood of Freemasons.
Okay.
Blue
How'd you
Lodge.
get into that? How'd you get into that?
Man, you know, a lot of cops are involved with that.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's a thing that I'm not saying you must do, but 95% of them do. You know what I mean?
Now, what's the benefit out of it? Like, what's the main purpose? At
Actually,
95.
For me, if you're going to ask me the question, I think it was more like biblical history.
Oh, okay.
What intrigued me the most was they talked about King Solomon's temple and the Holy of Holies, and I've always been intrigued by it.
So this actually exists.
Yes, it does. It's the occult. It's nothing to be messing with.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you straight up.
All right.
And there's 3 phases. The first phase is enter apprentice.
Okay.
Even before you get to that phase, you got to be pretty much spoke about.
Okay.
You know, to be one, you have to ask one. So one of my supervisors, he was a lieutenant, pretty much came up to me and asked me, hey, you want to join a club? And I'm like, what kind of club is it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, it's a Freemasons. I did my background, on them and did my research, and I've seen a lot of positive things that, that came out of doing the research. You know, a lot of them donate money to cancer victims and children with cancer, and the Shriners, they have their own hospital and so forth. I was in a position where I'm working with juvenile offenders. Well, why not? Why not do something in the outside? You know what I mean? So my lieutenant spoke for me, and 2 other of my fellow brothers in blue, and they petitioned. We petitioned for a spot in the Brotherhood, and filled out applications, and they did a background. They do a background on you, see if you're in good standing, or else they won't take you.
Wow.
What they do is they take men to make them better. That's what they say. But only God could do that.
Right.
No club could do that for you.
That's right.
So right around 2006, I'm on my 4th year. I'm a 4th or 5th year on the job. I petitioned. It all went pretty good, and they do a house interview.
Okay.
So I had, like 20, 30 people come to my house, and they spoke to my wife, because they speak to the females first.
Wow.
I didn't know why, but they usually do that because you're not going to be around as much when you go into meetings, or you got to do take time off to do work as far as donating, getting money for donations, and and so forth. So I didn't see that quite a bit, as far as going out there, doing that type of work first, because you have to go through rituals first. The first phase is the enter apprentice phase. That's phase 1, and you do your rituals. They take you in, and they tie a toe to your ankle, made of
tie a toe?
A toe, yeah, ankle toe. They call it the ankle toe, and it's made out of what do you call it? It's like a harness. It's
Okay.
like a tie. They tie it around your leg, and they raise your pants leg up, and you're there in a suit, and then you go around. You're blindfolded, so you can't really see the actual temple. It's a temple. You got Joaquin and Boaz on one side. The 2 towers, which is the 2 pillars.
So
The Freemasons.
This is like big time.
Oh, it's a ritual.
This is like sacred stuff. Like.
Yeah. But see, the way they cookie cut it is that they only get the ones that are like, I would say the ones that are really interested, and the ones that are clean cut.
Right.
All right. And I'm going to add the devil to this too.
Okay.
Because when you're in the world, you're of the devil. Your father, the devil, right?
Right.
When you don't have God on your mind at all times, from when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night, you're of your father, the devil. And I'm just going to say it like that, but I'm going to be bold and honest, Right. I was in the right state of mind then. I had some marital problems, so I felt like this was an outlet for me to get out and have fellowship with other brothers.
Yeah, right, because you wasn't getting that with the churches.
I wasn't getting that with the churches back home, because they were preaching prosperity.
Right. Okay.
You know, give me $1, God gives you 1,000. And God doesn't work that way, man. You got to work for, you got to work to eat. So, nah, don't wait for a handout.
So how long did the first phase last?
See, what they do is they bring you into the temple, and they have the secretary, which is a male. We're all males. There's no female masons here. I know in Europe, I think they do, not here. Unless you're an Eastern Star, that's different.
Okay.
But the Freemasons, you got the Blue Lodge, which is composed of all different nationalities and backgrounds of Masons,
Right.
to include different religious sets, Hindu, Muslim, whatever. You could be atheist, they don't care. You could be Satan, you could be a devil worshiper. And they'll bring a devil worshiping Bible right there, satanic Bible, so you could you take the oath. Yeah, they don't care. See, I didn't know that until I started doing more homework on it. What did I get myself into? But
Did you ever get that far?
oh yeah, I became a master mason.
Okay.
I mean, the highest you go is 33rd, but
Okay.
even at 32nd, see, from the ranks of 30th to 33, which is 3, that's when they divulge the actual truth to you.
I got you.
You know, which they have you in darkness all those years, and then once you start climbing up the rituals and the phases, and you go up the ranks or degrees,
Right.
we call it. You could go from the 3rd degree to the 32nd degree in a weekend.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you could do it in 2 days. They call that the fast track. But usually to get that high, it takes years. It takes years, but you could do it the other way. You got to pay some money or talk to whoever.
I heard that some people, if I might be mistaken, but I know some of these rich people, these Hollywood people, they give land, millions of dollars.
Oh yeah, yeah. It all depends because those are called dues, right?
Okay.
And you talking about occultic, satanic individuals that work in Hollywood, reverence, of money, of people of power. I didn't know all that. Because when you got scales in your eyes, you can only see so much.
Right.
But when God removes those blinds off your eyes, you start seeing who's who for what they are.
Wow.
And not every Masonic lodge. I mean, they all talk about the same, but everybody's different. Because in order for you to be a Shriner, you got to be a Mason. For you to be a Knights Templar, you got to be a Mason. And the more you go up in that pyramid, and the highest you could go is a Rothschild.
Right.
They're the highest of the highest.
Really?
Yeah, they're the satanic children of Satan.
Wow.
They actually sit on the table and they have a special chair for Satan right there. And he comes and talks to these family members, and they're the ones the shaking and bakers, I call it.
Now, this all has to do also with those people who go out into the wood and they burn that wooden owl and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, you talking about the Illuminati.
Illuminati, okay. So
Right.
this has to do with them?
Oh yeah, you have to be a Freemason to be there. All the presidents were Freemasons.
Okay.
A small portion weren't, but they were Jesuits. This is the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, even the Pope. They don't.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest. They don't actually have to do the whole ritual. They have to watch.
Right.
And because of their power and rank within the church.
But it's still controlled by
Oh yeah, everything is controlled by the white and black Pope. So
Yeah.
black and white, which is white and black tiles, is where we have our temple.
That's where you get that.
Yeah, the
okay.
yin yang. The
Right.
good versus evil. You got to have one of the balance. And that's the work of the devil. God doesn't work that way. He doesn't manifest that way. That's all the trick of the devil. The devil knows the Bible better than me and you put together.
Right.
Because he was there when God was putting it together. And of course he fell. Of course, but he knows.
Yeah.
He could twist the word of God and make it so clean like honey in your mouth. They say, well, this guy is a man of God. But no, you got to go beyond that, honey.
Right.
You got to go around it and do your research. Because they're going to give themselves up. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys and women, men and women that work in Hollywood, they're all Satanists.
I bet.
All of them are Satanists. And you know what? Anybody could tell me different. I really don't care because I know. Certain hand signs that you do, the pyramid, the rock, Jay-Z calls this the rock, is a pyramid.
Right.
All right? But in that pyramid, there's 13.
Right. You also got the,
Yeah.
what was this,
Well, that's the horns of the devil.
Right.
The devil's horns, yeah. And, that's Illuminati. You could use it for the Shriners use it too.
Right.
That's the Moloch.
okay.
Moloch is the actual owl that they worship out in California. All these big shots, big corporations, they go there, and that's where they make the presidents too.
Really?
They make presidents there. They know which president they're going to make. They make them. All this political stuff,
Right.
that's just BS. That's bullshit.
What?
That is bullshit. That is the most deceiving thing in America. They know which the Rothschilds makes the presidents. They're trillionaires. They own the world. They own like 90% of the world.
Yeah, and plus, if you have all these superstars and all these
You
actors,
control their puppets.
well, and not only that, they got the money to buy land.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually, it's going to be one government,
Yes.
or one secret government, should I say, the Illuminati or the Masons,
Right.
who will control all this land.
But see, the Masons are the foot soldiers of the Illuminati. You understand the pyramid, right?
Yes, yes.
It's shaped like a triangle, right? So we're at the very bottom.
At the very bottom.
And then above that, you got different families, different. Above that, you got York Rite, Scottish Rites, which are also sets of different branches of Freemasons. And then you go into Knights Templar, and you got,
So
Shriners.
I guess that's where you get the all-seeing eye from.
The all-seeing eye is Lucifer.
Right.
Underneath them is the Rothschilds. Underneath them is the Council of 13. Or the Council of 33. Or 13. No, 13. Underneath them, you got the Council of 33. Underneath them, you got big, different corporations like the CFR.
Wow.
Council of Foreign Relations. And underneath them, you got, like 6 big companies that own all the, they own all the real estate, and they own all, like, media outfits, I said media, they own all different types of.
Yeah, like those people who are like Warren Buffett, who owns.
Well, yeah, he's a 33rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they own, property, they own land, they own
Stocks, everything.
everything. So you got 6 corporations in the world that owns 90% of the assets and the money of the world, right? So even the Federal Reserve is not of the United States. It's a separate entity that's ran by the Rothschilds. See, the Rothschilds, they run all that from their house.
Wow.
And they live out in England. They don't leave that house.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
They don't leave the house.
Why is that? I mean, is there
Because that's where the devil dwells.
Gotcha.
The devil can only be in one place. God is everywhere.
Yeah.
You understand?
True. Yeah, because God is he's
Everlasting.
He's omnipresent.
Yeah, he's everywhere. You can't put God in there, sir.
Yeah,
He's too big.
And you can't have the devil
No.
everywhere.
No.
He's limited to his power.
One spot.
Amen.
Well, he'll use his foot soldiers to do other things.
Exactly.
They're all demons. They're all demon possessed. They're vessels. They're fleshly vessels that are compartmentalized. They're like shattered. They shatter their brains, and it's just like MK Ultra, right? They use MK Ultra to break the minds of people, and then they mold them the way that they want them to go.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Or satanic ritual abuse. That all comes together with the Freemasons.
So their ultimate goal is pretty much to have one world order,
One world religion,
one world religion, and one world
currency. Yep.
to eventually rule the world,
Rule the world, right?
which is to usher in also
The
mark
Antichrist.
the Antichrist, mark of the beast, and so
Mark
on.
of the beast, right?
So you've seen all this firsthand.
Yeah. Oh yeah, firsthand. I mean, I've seen the rituals. I see where they imitate them trying to kill you.
Wow.
When you get in your masters, they put you like they simulate that they're stabbing you, and they killing you like Tubal Cain.
So in other words, like you almost have to, kind of like the way we have to be reborn.
Yes, they're making a mockery out
They're making a
of
mockery.
baptism.
Right, and it's actually reversed. And you know what? The devil works like that
Yeah.
because. So if we have to be reborn, they pretty much say you have
You have to
kill
die first.
You have to
die.
kill yourself for the devil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just like like the satanic baptism, they baptize them in blood in a cast iron bathtub.
Right.
If you see the videos that you see, like this girl named Rihanna is one of them, that she's done blood sacrifices, and she's done a blood baptism, but they won't show blood in the bathtub. They show water, but it's symbolic. Their water is symbolic to blood,
Right.
and they have to get in that bathtub. Even Eminem, you see him on one of those magazines. He's just leaning back, bare chested, with blood up to his to his stomach
Wow.
in a cast iron, bathtub. And that's how they do their rituals. Everything is backwards.
Who's the other guy? I know. There's a lot of them.
A lot of them. Yeah.
Was it Lil Wayne?
Lil Wayne is another. That's the most satanic one around.
Right,
Him,
yeah.
Little Baby, the one that promotes him. He's a pedophile. He's a fag.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they're all homosexuals. They have to be like the Baphomet. Like is
The
it above?
Baphomet,
Like is
yeah.
it below? You see the Baphomet?
Yes, yes. He
Has-
has 4 arms, something like
Well,
that.
no. That's Hindu. I'm talking about the
Okay.
Baphomet is the god of the Knights Templar.
Okay, I'll post a picture as you're saying this.
Yeah.
I'll post a picture.
It's a goat's face with horns.
Right.
Has breast of a woman and the remaining lower half of man, and then the feet of a goat.
Wow.
So they worship that. That's Lucifer. All right? It's
Wow.
disgusting.
Yeah.
They eat fecal matter. They drink urine. I mean, it's disgusting. I never did that. I never got that high up to
Right.
do nothing like. But when you're up there and they expose everything to you at the 30th to the 33, you're done. You're selling yourself to the devil at that point.
And then not only that, you're
Yeah.
sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, you sworn never to divulge any information, but to always protect and help your fellow brother. That's
Wow.
it. Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh
so
yeah.
that was the first step, and then what was the
The
second?
second is fellowcraft. That's
Fellowcraft.
yeah. That's the second degree, fellowcraft.
Okay.
Same kind of rituals, but it's now you go from raising your pants, like trousers on the right. Now you're gonna do it on the left, and now you got a different ankle tuck with a ball.
Man, that's crazy.
And then you blindfolded. They take you, the actual officer. They call them officers, the ushers. I call them ushers. They usher you around, and you got to bow where you have to bow, and you got to, do what you got to do, and
Wow.
and they make you face the worshipful master of the east, the worshipful master of the west. There's a specific part in the lodge. It's empty, and that's the north. You never face the north, which it resembles where the Lord is at.
Right.
They say that God is, straight up north, but they don't make you do nothing with that. It's just like senseless rituals, and you want your ego to get through. You're eager to get your ring, your token,
Yeah.
or any other, Masonic memorabilia that you could wear. You put it on.
I've met somebody when I was
Yeah.
working at the shipyard.
Yeah.
Someone who did have a ring.
Yeah, I used to wear a ring all the time.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they give you rings.
No, you have to buy it. You have to purchase it yourself.
Oh.
Or if you're my brother and I'm giving you a token of my appreciation to you because you already became a master,
Right.
well, here's sometimes they'll give you a dime with a compass and square on it.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? Unless you really put it up close to see it, that's a
Yeah.
token of appreciation and love from your brother.
Gotcha.
Or they'll probably, well, you know what? We wanted to buy you your first ring. Or they'll give you a shield to put in your car. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
everybody sees that you're a brother, leave you alone. You get special privileges, you get pulled over, cop, have a nice day. Because they're all, yeah.
So the ultimate goal here is that if anybody ever, I guess, approaches somebody,
Right.
stay far away from this.
Oh, you're going to have to stay far away from and run. Don't
Yeah.
stay close because, see, the problem with that is they use the actual word brotherhood as an advantage to them.
And it's sad.
It's
you
a
know,
catchy. It's
when
a honey.
you say brotherhood, also,
Yeah.
like this is going around a lot in the colleges.
Oh, yeah, the Alpha Catas and all
Yeah.
them, that's all Greek.
Yes.
And a lot of them becomes, after a while, they'll become bones and skulls.
Wow.
Oh yeah, especially if you're in Yale. That's where they come from, But they do have, you have to be a master mason before you become anything else. Depending on your upward mobility, and rituals. The quicker you get them done, the quicker things are revealed to you. But like I said, you could go as high as you want. If you got money, you could buy your way up. Honorary. You know how many times they give honorary doctorates that people never ever been in college?
Yeah.
For example, Bill Cosby got an honorary doctorates, right? So they jacked him up with these women and stuff. They took it away, but he's a Freemason. But see, if you start exposing them, they'll go after you. They'll go after your family. They'll try to kill you because the government's part of it. it's not only civilians. The government is in cahoots with these people.
Right.
And in there's sectors throughout the whole country that split apart. I don't know if it's northeast, south, and west, but they have witches that are in charge of these sectors and warlocks that are in charge of these sectors, and they pretty much monitor the satanic. I'm going to use the satanic, members.
Mm-hmm.
Like they call it congregation too, just the opposite of being a Jesus believer. I don't want to use the word Christianity.
Yeah.
But I want to, believers, right? So they have specific warlocks and, Council of 13 witches, which are either male or female. Mm-hmm. And pretty much they're in charge of thousands of members of the congregations and the local witches and warlocks that are in charge of that congregation.
Wow.
And a lot of them are politicians, heavily involved in witchcraft. And they have to do certain rituals and certain things in order for them to gain favor with the Rothschilds, and then they send orders of doing things for that family.
Wow.
They give them orders, and with those orders money comes with it.
And so like the exact same way we try to expand the kingdom of God.
They're doing it the other way.
They're doing it the other way.
Oh yeah, it's satanic at the core. This whole country is not based upon Christianity. It's satanic from head to toe. Don't ever think that the president is not a satanic worshiper either. Don't ever think. And I'm going to put it out there too. I'm going to put it out there.
Nice.
I'm going to put it out there. Because, come on. Their God is money. Lucifer.
Right.
They don't have none of want or need. Doesn't the Lord says it in the Holy Scriptures, ye that are poor, you're rich. Right? We're rich in favor to the Most High.
That's right.
All you got to do is ask, and God provides. If He provides for the little critters and the birds of the air and the fowls of the air, how much more us that He loves us even more? We're made in His creation.
Amen.
But these people are satanic at the core. They don't believe in God. They hate God because their God is Lucifer. And I was involved in that. I met witches before. They've revealed themselves because when you're in and you get yourself out, see, what got me out was God's love and grace and mercy.
So looking back,
Yeah.
You wouldn't trade nothing in the world for it.
Never. I'm humbled
Amen.
to the 20th power.
Amen.
I would never change anything
Right.
because the Most High had something to do with it.
Amen.
See, and I didn't know, I thought it was just things that, at times, you do something that you ain't supposed to do, you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
A lot of it was reaping and sowing, don't get me wrong. But the bulk of it was God breaking me down from being a juvenile all the way up to I'm in my 40s now, so I'm a different type of person now.
Amen.
Everything that was taken from me, that I thought it was taken away from me, God gave it back with interest.
Multiply it.
So, at times when I fellowship with other brothers and sisters, I share with them portions of my testimony or whatever benefits them, in the walk. And they're like, how did you do it?
Someone once told me, it said, the devil likes to subtract and divide.
Yeah.
And the Lord likes to add and multiply.
Multiply. Just like Abraham.
Amen, brother.
Just like Abraham.
That's right.
But people like yourself, through you, I got to see the apostle.
All right, yeah.
I would have never got to see Pastor Jennings if it would have been because of the word of
The word made simple.
Made Simple, on YouTube. And then from there we started fellowshipping, and I started watching all his, YouTube channels through you, Tony Harving, and everybody else. And, just before I came here, the Lord spoke to me. He goes, well, you need to be baptized. You need to be holy, brother. You got the Holy Spirit in you. You speak in tongues. Now it's time for you to be baptized.
Amen. That's right.
So from here, I'm going to go to the Holy Convocation, hopefully in July.
That's right.
And I'm going to be baptized there. I got to go see Pastor Gino Jennings to see if he knows what to do with me.
Yeah.
Well, you see, there you go, guys. You have it. Here's Brother Vic. And hopefully he'll be there, God willing. Hopefully I'll be there, God willing. Hopefully Tony
First
Harvey.
church.
Yes,
Rocks.
amen. And last week of July.
Last week of July. Also, if there's anybody out there considering to becoming a Freemason, don't do it. Don't do it. If you need to talk to somebody that's been there, you could contact me at 330-707-5159, or you could shoot me an email, which is lowercase vr13377@gmail.com. At any time, I'm available all day long. So just wanted to say God bless you. Be safe. Do the right thing.